punk sound, if you like.
It was a kind of weird combination of Iggy Pop and Kraftwerk, but other things as well, I think. I mean, Curtis's reading was really important, and in the big mixture then, if you were interested in punk, you were being turned towards things like William Burroughs and J.G. Ballard.
He loved T.S. Eliot, for example. He was a huge fan of poetry. So lyrically, he was kind of already moving quite far away from punk in the first place. And there was an intensity and a kind of heaviness. Joy Division was very emotional. It was very, very dark. And you knew that there was something very, very serious about it.
You can tell from the track Isolation on Closer, Joy Division's second album, already begins to have those synthetic Kraftwerk moments.
Trans-Europe Express.
Ian was influenced by a lot of stuff, and it wasn't all particularly musical. He was fascinated by Werner Herzog film and you know, as I say, literature. I think his influences were very, very mixed.
It sounds simplistic, but it was about art. You know, there was an artistic inspiration going on, and you wanted to mix everything up.
As was standard in the punk ethics of the 70s music scene, Joy Division released their first record through a small indie label in the hope of attracting major label interest. Factory Records co-owner Tony Wilson saw the band's potential for the company from an early stage.
The manager of Joy Division, Gretton, he sat down with me one day and went, before we go to Warner Brothers, why don't we do our first album with you? And, you know, are you sure? Why? Well, and his real why was he'd noticed that the single he'd done with us had cost £4,000 and made 4,300, and the group had got 100 quid, or 80 quid, which was split between the four groups, the profit. And he'd seen it work, and he knew the economics of the music business. Album sales are where the money is. I then said, how much would it cost to do the album? He said, Martin Hannett says £5,000. My mother had left me £10,000. The album cost £10,000. And we pressed, that was Unknown Pleasures. We pressed 10,000, delivered 5,000 from the plant to Rough Trade, Pinnacle, to all the independent distributors. The other 5,000, which we hadn't pre-sold, came back on a van or truck. And Alan Erasmus, Rob Gretton and I happened to be sure we were out of town, so Hooky carried all the boxes till 4 in the morning up the 2 flights of stairs to the flat we were working out of. The next 5,000 sold within a month. At that point, you've done 10,000 albums, you're in business as a company.
And she expressed herself in many different ways until she lost control again.
Released in August 1979, their first album, Unknown Pleasures, has been lauded as groundbreaking in its use of soundscapes and its attempts to redefine alienation.
She's lost control.
You just knew, your instinct knew somehow something feeding back from the future, that there was a timeless piece of universal work had taken place out of this strange hotspots of influences in the punk scene in Manchester. They instantly went far beyond being a local band who you knew, and suddenly became slightly intimidating, because this was really special, and this seemed to belong to that world of Eno and Iggy and the Velvet Underground, and it seemed to fit right in. You think of David Bowie's Low. Suddenly there was an album made by the local band Joy Division that was on a par, and that was incredibly exciting.
The style was very important to Tony, the look of the thing, the way the thing was packaged. And far from overshadowing what was going on at Factory, Joy Division made it possible for Tony to indulge, if you like, a lot of these ideas he had.
Dance, 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 dance to the radio. Dance, 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 dance to the radio. Oh, I was called out when the going gets tough. Things you've learned are no longer enough. Well, now it's the sound, so we need to know. To synchronize love to the beat of the show. And we should dance.
The creative vortex of Factory Records and Joy Division expressed itself in a near-total symbiotic relationship. A number of key characters, such as designer Peter Saville, part of the Factory gang, shaped the image and overall look of the band.
Well, the madness of Factory Records and the madness of the collective suited the madness of Joy Division, and it filled in a lot of gaps for the group. And so in the same sense that they were asking, you know, their producer Martin Hannett that they wanted to sound a certain way, and lo and behold it happened. Also in terms of the way it fitted into a package and fitted into a kind of image, happened because of Factory. You know, if that initial album Unknown Pleasures had looked a different way, say there was a picture of the group on the cover and it was a much more traditional looking record, a lot more corny, that would have affected the whole thing as well, because there's no doubt that the things bled into each other and made a huge difference in terms of perception and how the thing grew.
Coming up in Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll, the division between joy and sadness becomes ever wider as feelings of isolation become acute for one member of the band. And as the new musical dawn fades, tragedy becomes a reality.